Things I thought were normal growing up rich. I always wondered how my parents weren't broke. I literally thought they were both unemployed. Now that I'm older, I understand that my dad's an investor. But when I was a kid, I never saw any one of my parents go to an office or go on a business trip or anything like that. In fact, on my sister's first day of preschool, they picked her up in a Rolls Royce, and I think they got so many weird stares from everyone else in the school that when it was my turn to go to preschool, they never did that for me. Because none of my parents had conventional jobs, we were always traveling for months in a year. When we were in like first grade, we skipped a whole semester of school, which looking back on is kind of crazy because we still had to pay full school fees. And then when we did go on trips, we always took our full-time nanny, so it didn't matter if we were flying private or staying in like a castle in Scotland, she was always gonna come with us. In school, I felt like all the popular girls either played netball or soccer or basketball, and I had to play tennis. And when I asked my parents why I couldn't play netball instead of tennis, they said it was because the other sports were cheap. My mom told me because tennis is usually a solo sport or in pairs, it's more expensive to rent a court, the equipment is more expensive, and just everything was more costly. Some other rich people activities my parents made us do was skiing, horseback riding, and shooting lessons, which was a weird one. I actually really like that one, like clay pigeon shotgun shooting. I've also never had a sleepover in my life, and I don't necessarily think that this is related to me growing up rich. However, I do think because my parents don't have a usual job, they had so much free time that they could be super helicopter strict parents. So you know that super rich kids audio where it's like parents weren't around enough? That I think was false, at least in my case, because my parents were always around. Guys, I kid you not, I used to feel so dumb and low-key embarrassed that I didn't know that my parents had a job when I was little. So I remember one time in class, we had to like draw our parents' occupation, and I drew my dad playing chess. That's all I really saw him do. I also think because growing up, I never saw my parents working, every time somebody would ask me what I wanted to do when I was older or my plans for a job, I would just straight up tell them I don't want to have a job, which I obviously know is such a privileged position to be in, and I'm so grateful. Love you guys so much. Bye.